am checking the channel.
Are we live?
Yeah, we
Hello,
are.
internet.
Okay, we're live, but we're not centered.
Oh, we're not centered.
You could center us in Streamlabs. Just grab it and yeah, there you go. Or you know what? In the Discord, just make it full screen. Sorry, that should do the trick. That's weird. Oh, now it's just me. Click the. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Now we're there. Now you gotta move it up because Marian's at the bottom of the screen now. Move the screen up. You see it? She's cut off. Welcome to the show, guys. We're figuring this
Ah!
out. There you go. Perfect. Wow. So apparently I need to update my let me do my pitch first. Welcome to the show. Panakal podcast for Geeks, good friends hanging out, talking about things we all love. That sucked. We are having a lot of technical difficulties today. Apparently my Windows decided it needs to update all its drivers.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks, NVIDIA. I'm getting a weird echo. That might just be me. Okay, no worries.
You might need to, mute Twitch. The tab.
Yeah, Twitch is muted.
Okay.
Might be on Andrew's end. Someone's got a speaker. It's not me. Okay.
I'm not hearing any
Either.
more echo.
I don't hear an echo anymore. Oh
Okay.
yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Oh no, there it is again. I keep hearing a weird echo. No. Testing? No, I think it's gone. All right, anyone who's watching us, this is a total. This show is falling apart live. So sorry, Marian. Thank you for waiting for almost 40 minutes till we figured
Yeah,
that
no problem.
out. Um,
All good, all good.
Welcome to the
Thanks
show.
for
We literally
surprise.
told you before we
Yeah.
were going live that we always have some form of technical difficulty. I just didn't think it would be a video card issue, which
Yeah.
I guess now I need to sort out before next week's show. But let's talk about you. So I was talking about, man, I'm getting that echo effect again.
I'm hearing it through Andrew, actually. Yeah. Your screen goes green.
Make sure everything's going into the headphones. Welcome to the show, Marian.
Yeah,
This show is just
all
about
good.
technical errors. You didn't know that's
Yeah,
what
it
you when
literally
you're
is.
on for, right? This is all you get to do is sit through our errors all day and help us
Yeah.
field test. Kerm finally says he can hear us, so like I guess we're live and everyone can hear us.
Okay, great. At least we are.
Wait. Oh, here we go. Is that better?
I will find out in a second, I guess. So
I don't hear
let's talk
myself, so I
about.
think we're good. Yeah.
I know what the issue was. It thought I had a Yeti, even though I don't, because you stream through a Yeti, so it was trying to do some wackadoo thing.
So maybe I should tell Kerm to check. I'm guessing he can still hear us. We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, the levels all still look good on my end at least, so I see everything. Yeah, it was just I had to just change it from picking up your audio input to mine.
Okay, no worries. So let's talk about Marian and her art. So
yes.
We really only know you through the Rusty Skillet group. Honestly, I don't think we've ever met in person at any shows, to the best of my recollection. Have you ever done like IX or anything?
No. So yeah, quick intro. My name is Marian Pham. Hi, everybody. Happy to be here despite technical issues. And I'm a painter and illustrator, and I have not been to a whole lot of like networking conventions or events or anything like that. But I would like to at some point once, traveling gets a little bit safer, hopefully. But yeah, most of my art friends, I guess, if I were to call that, it has been online through Discord or through, just the online community. And it's been great. It's been really fun to do art next to all of these people and also just be in community with all of them. So yeah. What do you guys want to know? What kind of art I want to do?
Yeah.
Well, you talk about your art first. You seem
okay.
Like, are you primarily in watercolors? I can't. Tell if I'm
Yeah.
looking at watercolors.
Yeah, so I do watercolors, gouache. I tend to like do a mixed media with the water medium, so I tend to like mix watercolors and inks and gouache together to make something.
Hmm.
Or I do oils as well. I love doing oil painting, and I'm also a digital painter. So I kind of do all of those
Yeah, you do a lot of
things
portraits,
depending.
which I think are cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Your
I
illustrations link is broken, by the way.
Is it?
This is just a day of broken things.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Make sure the I in illustration is lowercase. I don't know.
is that the trick? Let's find out.
It might.
Do you ever do oil on top of the watercolor and acrylic? Like, do you ever seal like watercolor, acrylic, gouache, and then go on top of that with oil, or have
No,
you
I
just kept
just
them
do.
totally separate?
I keep them totally separate.
Hmm.
Yeah. I have been interested in using like a shellac based ink and trying oils on top of that because shellac also seals the paper or the surface really quite well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's been on my mind of things to try because I think that effect looks really cool too. So, but for now, my oil paints are really just oil paintings. I paint alla prima or direct painting. So the glazing thing it's just like I can't, I don't have the patience to
Yeah.
do multiple layers of glazing.
I mean, at least you're doing traditional. I'm still very hesitant about doing traditional. Andrew knows this. I've been testing things. I've been testing poster
Yeah,
paints, acrylic gouache.
yeah,
I'm doing the
I'm
liquid
still
metal.
waiting to see these experiments. I want to see them.
I think what I'm gonna do is just put a bunch of them in together and then start sharing them live, just to be like, here's my embarrassment. But I actually got a really good idea at the show last week while I was watching this other artist paint, kind of like the way I wanted to try doing my style with like blocky shapes,
Hmm.
and they were doing kind of what I was thinking. My thing is I wanted it to be a little more like gradients, but thinking let's get the first steps done, right? I'm enjoying the process. Don't get me wrong. It's just like
Mhm.
I'm so used to doing digital work that traditional is scary.
Alan,
Yeah,
you ever looked at older like 80s, 90s artists? You know,
I'm looking at the pop art, right?
yeah,
You're talking like
yeah,
pop art, yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, because like a lot of them. I mean, before digital art, it was airbrush, and I mean, if you're wanting to do gradients, that's the way to go. Is just to do a bunch of airbrushing everywhere.
So I spent like a good hour yesterday cleaning out my garage, putting inventory away, and trying to find. I know I own an airbrush because I traded a guitar for an airbrush back in the day. Um, and I was trying to find it because I was like, I feel like I can use. Why pay for a new airbrush when you already have one, right?
Yeah.
Mess around. Now I feel like it's in this closet right next to me, but
Who
whatever.
knows?
Um,
Marion, what medium did you start with? Like, were you traditional first and then digital, or were you digital and then you kind of branched out into all the traditional work?
yeah. I was traditional first, actually.
Hmm.
Before I started smart school classes, which is how I met everybody here in this community. I was doing oil painting, a lot of plein air landscape painting was kind of my way into learning how to use oil paints because I didn't really use oil paints when I was in college,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, so I did a stint where I did a lot of landscape painting just so I could learn how to use the oil paints and also just learn how to,
that's a smart
understand
idea.
values and things like that. Yeah, landscapes just seemed easier because I could mess around with the shapes and just learn compositional things without having to worry about the human form because the human form is a beast, right? And so when I actually started taking classes at Smarter Art School, that's when I really started learning how to use digital painting. I had Procreate on my iPad for a long time, but never really got the hang of it until I started taking classes at Smart School. And I started with Mark Chef's beginning illustration class, kind of to go back into illustration. I went to school for illustration, but I never really did anything with that degree, until a few years ago. So it was kind of like my way of like, okay, let's the way I paint now is a lot different than the way I painted when I was in my early 20s. So let's
I
start back with the basics.
totally understand that.
Like all of us.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's just par for the course. So if I were to show you my digital paintings back then in Mark's class with how I paint now, completely different.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
more comfortable doing digital painting, especially for like quick editorial work or commercial work.
Sure.
Like Alan, I'm sure, as you know, it's just faster. Like, you learn all the concepts that you do in traditional painting, but you don't have the mess or you don't have the
Right.
physicality to kind of worry about. Yeah, so for jobs that require, a tighter turnaround or need to think a little bit faster,
I
digital
s-
is great for that. Yeah.
I mean, sadly, I'm not that fast at digital either, right? So like
Oh,
I know a lot of people are like, I work digitally because if I get this job, then I can turn it around really quick. Like you just said, turn it around really quick, get it done, on to the
yeah,
next one. But like
yeah.
I'm still, I mean, don't get me wrong. From when I started with Scott like 4 years or 5 years ago to where I am now with Scott, like my style has gotten a lot better. And honestly, people like Scott and then Andrew actually has helped me in the last year to get like some of my fundamentals down a little bit better, especially 3D work, which I
Yeah,
never really
yeah.
thought 3D would be my jam. I was always like, nah, I don't want to touch 3D, but it helps like me see. I have a hard time seeing like, so I know like artists will say perspective isn't a thing, other artists will say perspective is a thing. So I have a hard time with like depth and perspective when I'm like drawing. So the 3Ds help me a ton to just. At the end of the day, my stuff is kind of flat,
hmm
but the rendering.
You still get an idea of it, yeah.
Yeah, but you kind of want an idea of like,
Yeah.
am I getting the angles right? And that's where the 3D, like a lot of the last pieces I've been producing, I've had Andrew help me build the sculpts. Like I'd be like, this is kind of what I'm thinking. I'll send him a quick sketch, and he'll help me 3D build the person. And I never really use that whole model, but it's a good stepping stone to like, here's where I want to go. And I don't do a lot of freelance work because that my process takes me. It could take me like in a month to just get a good piece, right?
Right.
No
Right.
company's gonna want to work with you if you're like, it's gonna take me a month to get this done. I'm not like if I was like Michelangelo or Da Vinci, they might be like, yeah, man, we'll wait a month for you,
Yeah.
But I'm me, and they're just like, we'll just go get this guy. He works it. He'll get it done in a couple hours. So it's kind of freelance. Do you do a lot of freelance work, or you? I mean, I know you work for a couple different other side projects, but do you actually do a lot of freelance on your own too?
Yeah, I was just sharing this with Andrew earlier. I'm still looking. Yeah, I want to do
Okay.
more freelance. So far the most recent freelance I did was the Zelensky portrait. That's on my website right now if you guys were to check it out. That was a really quick turnaround. It was about a week job because it was a time sensitive project as you imagine, during that
Yep.
Yeah,
when the
It's a really
escalation
good
happened.
painting.
Yeah.
it is.
Thank
Are you
you.
are you primarily editorial then, or like in terms of your
I
freelance?
Yeah, I want to do editorial and publishing.
Hmm.
I love doing book covers, and book covers at least gives you a little bit extra time than editorial does.
Okay.
But I'm looking into both because I like there's a narrative work, in both editorial and
Oh
publishing
man,
spaces, which is what I like. So
Right.
I
yeah.
would love to do a book cover. I just would love one
Mhm.
book. I want like a good I want a book
Yeah.
like I want to read. Like I don't want to be like I can't even think of an example right now. Like I don't want to do like a Nora Roberts book cover, right? Like I don't read Nora
Yeah.
Roberts. Like Stephen King would be cool because I love Stephen King.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was talking to
I'm
Lauren
for
Panpinto
that.
about
Yeah.
The Expanse. They just did a bunch of stuff for The Expanse, and I was like, oh
Awesome
man,
show, by
I
the
would have
way.
loved to.
Yeah.
It's an amazing show. If people haven't seen
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Expanse, take the time to watch The Expanse.
hmm hmm
Um, I heard the books are really good, but they're so long. Like I was like, I kind of know what's happening already. Do I want to read
Yeah.
about it? I would have loved to do those. If you saw the last special edition books they put out, it's very like
hmm
graphic heavy with some like very much. I wish
It
I had
is.
done it because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it would have been awesome to be like, I did the Expanse books, and I was super like jealous of
Yeah.
like Bruce. Congrats, Bruce, if you're watching. On his Spelljammer cover, I was like, you did Spelljammer, like
Yeah. Yeah.
also fuck you, Bruce.
What?
Just kidding, man. I love you. I was like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like those are the kind of things you can like look at later and be like, I did this awesome book cover, right? You're not like, I did like
hmm
Yeah.
something that doesn't exist. Like, I feel like is the guy that I know a bunch of you did the stuff for the Ukraine
projects.
client.
Yeah.
I was gonna say vendor,
Yeah.
but client's the word I'm on. And
Yeah.
Is he gonna put it in like a book, or is he just auctioning them off? No idea.
I wasn't super clear, and
Mm.
like when I got the
Oh,
job, I asked
sure.
what it was about, like
Yeah, you guys are
should I
all over the
wait
board in
before
that
I put
chat.
it? Yeah, it was. And so he's like, no, like when you put it up, just make sure you use this hashtag,
Okay.
and tag us. And that was kind of it. So like it was a very like spontaneous spur of the moment, like, we got a budget to help artists if they want to do something regarding this really serious conflict
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now. And so, yeah, like I don't know what actually they'll do with all the art, but there's been some really gorgeous illustrations that came out of this.
yeah. I mean,
And I,
a lot of it I think came out of Rusty, which is cool.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, which is really
you
cool.
posted
Yeah,
that thing, and then like in my head I was like, you posted like, hey, this cool job just came down the line for me. I'm probably gonna apply to it. And then
yeah,
like 12 other people jumped on it too, and I literally read that like, like I
yeah,
didn't read it like they were looking for multiple artists. I read it like you were gonna be the artist, and now all these other people
yeah,
are applying too. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
like Andrew and I were talking about on the side. So I'm like, this ain't gonna go well, until I realized
yeah,
that they wanted all the artists, which is cool,
yeah,
right? If you can be like, hey, I
yeah.
got the money, I'm gonna hire a bunch of you guys to do this
Yeah,
job.
I thought it was really cool too. It really allowed people with different styles to like express how we're feeling,
Yeah,
in different ways, and because I specialize in portraits for now,
I mean they're
it makes
good,
sense,
man.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at the girl with the red hair.
Mm.
That's some good hair. Like, if anyone's looking at the
Yeah,
website, I'm like, is that
yeah.
traditional or digital?
I that's the goal, I every
I
time I
can't
put it
tell,
out there,
man.
like they can't tell,
Yeah,
and that's what I'm all about. Yeah,
it's good. I'm just
yeah,
like, and I remember the Kamala one was the first one I think I saw from you. Um,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
so
love doing that. That was really great. And I had the help of Rusty Skillet to pull that together. So
yeah, I mean
shout out shout
we
out
got
to
a good
Rusty.
group of artists.
Yeah, we
We
do.
do.
Rusty for
Yeah.
carrying us. Like, you guys don't know how many pieces Andrew's helped me carry. Ben Hill, who
Hmm.
actually set up the Rusty group. Like, Ben's looked over
Yeah.
stuff and me, and then obviously Scott Fisher.
Yeah.
You guys don't know
Yeah,
Scott Fisher.
absolutely.
Are you
Yeah,
looking
I am
into?
open for commissions, by the way. If anyone's looking for art,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, we'll
open for
plug it.
private
I'll
commissions as
definitely
well.
plug the site
Cool.
on YouTube too. I apologize to anyone who usually watches this on YouTube. Streamlabs
All
sucks
good.
sometimes.
All good. Yeah.
So on a quick side note, what was broken on the site was if I clicked on portfolio, and then it went to the
Oh.
portfolio page, and then there's two images there that say illustration and paintings. And if you click on paint, fine, but if I click on illustration,
Oh yeah.
It's
page
silly
not found.
brokenly. Okay,
It's a
yeah, I
broken
can
page.
go fix that real quick. Yeah.
So I was also going to talk to you about. You mentioned you worked for Etchr, so you worked
Hmm.
with Darren, obviously.
Darren created the Etchr satchel,
Right.
which is sold through Etchr Lab. I actually have never met Darren.
Okay.
I work very closely with Simon and Yan, who are the co-founders of Etchr Lab, though. They handle different departments, but I'm in a position where I do meet up with them and the rest of the team pretty regularly.
Sure.
Yeah, and in addition to Darren, Ya, I think is how you say his last name. Stephanie Law, who's
Oh
a
yeah.
very amazing artist too. She created a mini palette that she was doing on her
I
own through
remember that.
Kickstarter and such. Yeah. And eventually Etchr Lab offered to handle manufacturing and
Oh,
we
that's
would
cool.
sell it through there. Yeah. And then the same thing with the Perfect Sketchbook, which was created by Erwin Lian. He's an urban sketcher based out in Singapore. So Etchr Lab has been able to really help out with like kind of the harder like manufacturing details that these artists created these products but didn't have the infrastructure in place, to really
That's cool.
mass produce them or mass make them. And Etchr Lab like saw it, stepped in, and we were able to create the company that you guys know and love.
Yeah, I mean,
Now
I
to
knew it from
say,
the Nomad
yeah.
bag. So I know
Mm,
Darren through like just chatting with him on Facebook and stuff, and then we just became friends that way. But back in the
Yeah.
day, I had a Nomad bag. It got stolen on the Red Line.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Back in I had like an original one, like one of the first runs. I think I think the bag itself has gotten way more advanced since the first run. But yeah, I remember I messaged Aaron. I was like, yeah, that got stolen, and it sucked because I saved up a lot of money and I bought the thing, right, and I finally had the thing. And
Yeah.
it's just a bad night to be me. But yeah, I think you mentioned that he's either sold the company or moved on, obviously. So, and I remember the thing you talking about with Stephanie Law because I was talking to her once at LuxCon back in the day, and she took me aside and showed me her like prototype idea for it. She's like, I'm gonna show you something, but don't steal my idea. And I'm just like, I don't work traditionally. What am I gonna steal? But when she showed it to me, I'm like, that's a cool idea. And she's like, keep it secret. I never told anyone about it because I was like, I don't want to get snuffed by Stephanie Law. Like she seemed like she knew people. I was like, she's gonna put a hit out on me if I say something wrong, And then so it's kind of cool to see like her kickstart it, and then it's like became a thing. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I've seen the sketchbook you mentioned. I have to go look that up later.
Yeah, go look it up because Erwin was this is the same with Stephanie. He started as a Kickstarter project too, and he did a few rounds of crowdfunding it before working with Etchr, and handing off the production part to Etchr so that he could focus on his art. Because at the end of the day, artists just want to art, right?
Oh yeah, trust me.
True.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, and so a lot of these other things that make up, business, it takes up a lot of time. And Erwin, as you know, was like, I love this product, but it's a lot. It's a lot of hard work. And so, yeah, Erwin Leon, the perfect sketchbook. Etchr Lab has a few, I believe, still in stock from last year's limited edition run. We label it as the signature perfect sketchbook. Because it is a very specially made sketchbook. It's a watercolor sketchbook that is made up of Fabriano cold press watercolor paper and binded in a way that lays flat and has kind of the usual things that we love about sketchbooks, laying flat, a pocket, a ribbon, a nice vegan cover. And I actually have a few Etchr sketchbooks here right now. But yeah, they're really lovely to use.
Like, here's my Etchr shop.
Yeah, this is actually from Erwin's Kickstarter. So he did a gold embossing thing, and yeah, this is my.
For a fact, we all have stacks of sketchbooks sitting in our rooms. I feel like you guys use yours. I finally started using mine a lot more because I'm trying to do more traditional, And also, my wife was like, "You have all these sketchbooks. What are you gonna do with them?" And I'm like, "Are you aware you're married to an artist?"
Yeah, we just love to collect them. My fiance says the exact same thing. He's like, "You really don't need to spend more money on this," and I'm like, "You're wrong. You're wrong."
You posted a sketchbook in the chat. I remember, and I went and looked at it because I was like, "That looks cool," and it was like $50 or $60.
This is a perfect sketchbook. Yeah.
Is that one? Okay.
I
remember looking at it and I was just like, I can't spend that much on it right now. But I remember thinking, damn, Marian.
Yeah, well, I will say I do work for the company, so I get a bit of a perk. So
no, obviously you work for someone. So
yeah.
So you work you also work for EDO as well. So
yes,
I assume you're doing like part-time work for all these companies because you'd be burnt out if you're doing full-time work for all these companies.
Yes, you're absolutely right. With Etchr, I do work part-time, and EDO, as if you guys don't know, is Everyday Original, an online art gallery founded by actually one of the mentors at Smart School, Mark Schecht. And it's very part-time, even more part-time than Etchr Studio. But I basically keep the ship going so that when Mark wants to do something new or something different, like recently we had a gallery launch for a new extended gallery that Andrew is actually a part of, actually. Which was a great launch, by the way, very successful launch.
It was very good. Working on the next piece for it currently, now that I'm feeling better. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So I basically handle a lot of the everyday tasks, just so that the usual stuff keeps going, and it frees up Mark so that he can implement different ideas that he has for the gallery and that kind of thing. But I, as you can see, both jobs allow me to work with artists. And I think that's just what I love. Like, I just love being in some kind of capacity with other creative people because it feeds me, to want to work on my own stuff and get the support and be in community with them. And so at this point, I've been with EDO for a little over a year now, and I know artists by name and by work at this point. I feel like I get to know each and every one of you, even through email. And I love that the gallery has grown to a point where there's a lot of support. The collectors are very supportive and wonderful, and it's just an honor to help other artists like sell their work through this gallery. And
No,
yeah.
it's nice. You're not working with like business tycoons or people you don't really want to get along with. You're working with like artists who, and like you said, you're probably working with a bunch of artists which is nice. That's one of the reasons I really started doing traditional stuff on the side, because when I talk to Mark at shows and stuff, he'd be like, when are you gonna get a piece on EDO? And I'm like, I'd love to get on EDO, but obviously it has to be traditional work. And part of me feels like I can maybe submit some of the stuff I've been working on, but you gotta like really like what you're working on, right? Like, I feel like I could show it to you guys, and someone might be like, oh, "That's really good. Could probably sell that." But also, I'm looking at it like, I don't like it. Like it's hard for me to. You guys know what it's like. It's hard to sell a piece that you're working on if you don't actually like the piece.
Yeah. Exactly. And each gallery kind of has like a vibe, or a collector base that has like preferences.
Sure.
And through working for EDO, I learned what that is. And when I help Mark look for new artists, I develop an eye for that as well. And so it helps me actually look at my own art and be like, okay, is this at the caliber that it could be at? Could it sell potentially at EDO? I'm not an artist at EDO actually, but maybe one day I will be. But it helps in this regard for myself as an artist too. I can kind of see what he's thinking of as someone who owns a gallery, and it allows me to just kind of like, okay, objectively look at this piece of work and detach my self-worth from the work too. It is something I really like to do, but you're right in that it is hard to sell a piece if your heart wasn't really in it. And at the same time, where is that line where you don't feel like personal rejection because it didn't quite sell, to this particular audience or something?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten better at feeling that feeling of like rejection when like something doesn't move for me. But yeah, it's that like like I tell people, like, if you like, and when I'm at a show, like when I'm selling you a piece, I can speak to the piece. I actually enjoy making it. I remember back in the day, I used to crank out like fan art and stuff, right? I was always like, I like this character, I'm gonna make that character. I like this character, I'm gonna make that character. But it was one of my cousins one day was talking to me, said, hey man, when you make it sounds like you're making stuff just to make money. And when you make stuff just to make money, people know, because you're really not genuine about how you speak of it, right? Like, I can obviously talk to you about like a Batman piece I did or a Spider-Man piece I did, but when you talk to me about my Ancient One stuff, my own lines, there's a different vibe there. I'm actually happy you're doing those. The traditional stuff, like I want that same feeling. I do joke with Mark and be like, when are you gonna get some digital artists in there? Get a digital line going, man. Like EDO digital or something. That'd be great. But I also understand the collector base wanting one of a kind pieces that are being produced over and over. So the new one's kind of like higher priced items, right? Like, isn't there a cap on the original?
I was gonna say, does that replace the original extended gallery that existed?
No, it does not. So
okay.
we have what Everyday Original is known for, is affordable pieces of work. They usually cap at 500. And some artists, to make that feasible, work smaller to sell a piece of work that is in that range of like about $100 to $500. The extended gallery, which we've called Beyond the Everyday, is for works that are higher priced than that, and of course bigger too in some of these cases. But it does not replace the original gallery. We just basically have two galleries.
Oh no! I meant like I remember before the current launch of Beyond Everyday, there was like an extended gallery that existed occasionally. Like occasionally there would be like a larger piece by like Donato or something like that.
Yeah. It basically I don't know if replace is the right word, but we revamped it, we revised it.
This is 2.0.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2.0, exactly. Yeah,
Gotcha.
version 2.0.
Okay.
This one will be sticking around, like, officially. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a good idea because then you got so the artists can go into a higher price point if they feel like the work's more. Like some stuff you see on there, you're like, man, you got that for $500, like,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
and that stuff would sell really. I've tried several times to get pieces on there, and I find it easier for me to go to a LuxCon and just be like, I'll take that and I'll take that. Let's go. Like a lot of the stuff on the wall behind me are originals I picked up at LuxCon.
Yeah.
Mainly because EDO, I get it. I know how it works. It's a cool idea. It stresses me out. You know, like, I never get the piece I want. Like I see it and it's already gone. I'm just like, you know, like, kudos to whoever's sitting there.
It is.
To add to that point, it is like our mailing list is where we sell a lot of our work. You know, so and they get first dibs to buy a work when it's published before the public does. And so if you guys go to the EDO website, there's a space where you can sign up for the mailing list for both the extended gallery that Andrew is in as well as the regular one. And yeah, it's kind of cutthroat. Some of those pieces go really quick.
It is a weird feeling when it goes live and then like you go check your phone like 5 minutes later and you get I get like an email from you, Marian, or it's like, hey, this sold, and it's like, oh Jesus, already. I was just checking it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of nice. You just kind of posted it and walked away.
Yeah, pretty much. Set it and forget it, you know, and if it sells on the day of, great. Sometimes we have pieces that sell later though. Sure. You know, and it's totally great because what it tells you is that there are people looking at the website every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I remember when I heard about it when they first started it, I was like, this is a brilliant idea because not a lot of people can go to like Spectrum, which I don't think exists anymore,
right?
But or like a LuxCon or whatever, right? Like, there's not a lot of people that can get to these galleries. It's interesting to us, like, you know, if you go to LuxCon, you walk around, you'll see a few collectors in there, and I really now kind of know most of them from people pointing out, saying that guy's a collector, and also me being, you know, getting in their faces over dumb things. But mainly it's artists over there, like, who are like, I want a Donato, so I'm gonna go find, like, I have a Donato Griffin that I bought, sketch of his. It's amazing, and there was a St. George killing the dragon, slaying the dragon that I wanted, and I'll tell you this much: if you're at LuxCon and you see a piece you want, put some money down on it right away and just be like, I'm gonna think about it. Just put some money down, because I didn't do that and I came back literally 10 minutes later. I usually end up buying like a Scott Fisher. You can see like that's his skeleton right there. I own both skeletons from the series, and that's Mark's piece actually. It's one of 3.
Oh yeah.
Those kind of things excite me, you know.
Yeah,
and it's cool because like he's got resin poured on this, and it got damaged in flight by Delta. Fuck you, Delta.
Oh, of course.
And, Mark fixed the whole thing for me and sent it back. So,
that's so great.
With resin, yeah, it just got scratched.
Yeah,
and dented, so.
Yeah,
but you know, like
work is great. Yeah,
you know, and this is one of those pieces. It's not really that heavy. It's he ran a test with illustrations, and it's only like maybe a half an inch.
Yeah,
thick.
Some of his things could be really thick.
Oh my god! You can
yeah. Like blunt force trauma on some of those.
He had him at a LuxCon one time in the showcase, and he set up a whole table, and I was standing there thinking, that table's not going to hold all that weight, you know, like.
Was that when he was first starting to do them? Because I remember. Yeah. I think it was like the first LuxCon he did, like after he started doing the resin stuff, and he had one of his larger ones, and it was about. You know, yay thick or whatever. Yeah, and I walked by and I looked at him. I was like, Jesus Christ, how heavy is that? And he goes, too heavy. I was like, yeah, totally seems like it.
I think he's gotten better with the pours since. Like this piece is, I think it's on a piece of foam core or some kind of balsa wood, and then the illustration, and then a very thin layer of resin. That's why I was like, oh, I can put that in my carry-on. It's light.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like I've got like some cool stuff. Like this piece right here is, if you were at LuxCon, it's on a penny. Her name is Brianna.
Cool.
I can't remember her last name. But she was at the show, and she does these teeny tiny pieces of artwork on a penny.
Oh wow!
I've gotten to
That's
the point with the
wild.
lexicon now where I walk around with X amount of. I shouldn't tell you guys how much cash I have because I don't want to get jumped. But by artists, I carry around X amount of cash that I know I'm going to spend only on art. And
Yeah.
so, but I also am very much like I just pull the trigger and buy it right away because
Yeah.
like in
It'll be gone.
her work, I wanted a specific penny and it was gone right away. And then I was like,
Yeah.
I got to snag one of these right now, or I'm gonna be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is an original Jeremy Wilson, Lobster
Oh,
Johnson.
lovely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I got like I got a wall of cool stuff, but
Yeah.
obviously I came from a when I was younger I was super broke, like doing the shows and stuff. I couldn't spend money on these things. This was like considered luxury, right? Like, what are you doing? My dad would lose his fucking mind if he saw this wall. He will when he walks in here someday. But like now I've got to a point where I'm not doing amazing, but I'm doing it well enough where I'm like, let's set aside. I purposely set aside X from every show, knowing I want to buy originals. And if my wife is watching, she probably doesn't agree with that, but it's my money. I work my ass off. I'm fine.
Yeah. It is like art can be the thing about art collecting is a lot of artists want to collect art too, and yes, they do have to work to get to a point where they could afford to pay someone the value that they set for themselves for this piece of art that they've done. And it can get kind of hairy out there because some people still feel like, artists don't really deserve to get paid that well, and that kind of mindset, it really requires breaking and really a lot of inner work, I feel like, for artists ourselves to really break free of that mentality, because that mentality is frankly bullshit, as we all know.
I tell people in Rusty all the time, I'm like, that's priced too low. Like, I got a piece off Tia. It's a cool fall piece with like a graveyard. She had posted it with like a graveyard on it. Dude, I got that thing really low, and I hired her to do some extra work for me on the side because I'm like, I'm gonna hire you and pay you to do some other stuff for me. But I messaged her to be like, that's low, man. Price this stuff higher. Like, there's a lot of people in Rusty who price their stuff so low, and every time I see it, I want to chime in and be like, the cost. Like, I mean, sure, maybe you did it in an hour, but that's because you got good at doing it.
Right, exactly. You shouldn't penalize yourself because you learned how to do it faster, paying yourself by the hour. Right?
I also feel the other side of that, where some of these artists are like, I need to sell this to make money to get food or pay my rent, so I kind of feel that struggle, because that's, I used to do the same way when I was younger and living by myself. I'd be like, I gotta sell this thing, I gotta make some work this job,
right?
So I get that hustle, but like if you're lucky enough to, like, my wife works, right? So like I'm not saying like she can carry me, but if I wasn't making sales one month, it helps, right? To be like, oh, thank God she's going to be able to pay the mortgage this month because I didn't bring enough to the table. I didn't have a show. Like, when we were in a pandemic year for the first 4 months of 2020, I wasn't bringing, there's no shows. All my shows got canceled. And I didn't know about pandemic insurance until one of my non-artist friends was like, dude, do you know they have gig worker insurance? And I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And when I looked into that, there's insurance set for artists to get X. It wasn't a lot, but it was better than zero. So kind of like, I get that mentality. So like, so people sometimes look at collecting originals like you're just throwing your money away, but it's like collecting anything else, right? Do you collect comic books or bottle caps? I don't know what you collect. Everybody has their thing, and this kind of stuff, like, this makes me happy, right? This is stuff I didn't think I could ever do. You guys can't see the whole wall, but if I turn it, you can see, like, there's a whole wall. Oh, you can see my mess too when I do that. That's my chaos. I'm still cleaning. But like, this is like one of my favorite bands, AFI. It's an original record that I want to get.
Oh man.
Them, there's a Miles Wool who's in the group with us. There's a bunch of. This is an original Batarang from the first Christopher Nolan movie.
Wow.
I got friends.
Oh, right below the cameo creeps. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So these two creeps are it's my wife and me. Chris Seaman paints these. Painted 2 originals. He has not painted my kid yet because she was too young. She was a baby, and Chris said, "I don't want to paint a creepy baby," which is fair.
Should have leaned into it, been like, yes, Chris, I want a creepy baby.
I wanted to paint a creepy baby, but now that Violet's 3 and a toddler, I said, how about now? Can you paint a toddler so I can add her to that? But yeah, that's fair. He was like, I don't want to paint a creepy baby. It's not. It's weird, you know. And I was just like, I didn't expect him to say that, but I understand. You know, if you're like, I don't paint those, cool, man. But yeah, these are cool because like mine is like it looks like actually it's these two right here. Mine is like
okay.
Jones. He's got like a if you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean, the Davy Jones character's got like the squid-like beard.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. I'll send you guys close-ups of it later. I'm not pulling it off the wall because I'm also very weird about everything being perfectly balanced. I'll lose my mind.
I've noticed the way it's composed is actually quite aesthetic.
Yeah, I'm very and then like I'll scroll up real quick because I think this is kind of cool stuff to show off. These are Scott's pieces. Like you can't see this. This is the first skull. That's the second skull off the line, I think.
Oh.
This is Tom Babby, Boba Fett. This is an Eli Manaya. He does these cool like layered. Eli's been on EDO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of these artists you actually mentioned have been on EDO or alumni of EDO. Yeah. So really cool.
Oh man, I just realized this is chaos back here too. Just ignore that, guys. There's nothing. You guys, I mean, do you guys have a wall in your house somewhere like that? I mean, it took me years to get my own studio, so.
Yeah, I have a studio that is actually attached to my parents' house, so that's where I do my work. It's where I do my art.
Oh, that's cool.
My fiance and I live close by, and I do have some prints that I've collected over the years, kind of hanging up. I also like trinkets, like just little like sculptures and things too. And I want to get to a point where I can afford to get some of the sculptures as well, because I also love collecting those. And so we have a glass cabinet where I started having my trinkets and my other stuff. And like you said, like these things just make me happy. They're fun to look at. They're really pretty. And I'm gonna spend my money on that. I don't collect Gucci bags. I don't collect all these other designer stuff, but I'll spend that money on like an original piece of art, kind of deal. Yeah.
And that's where like, I used to be that way when I see like I have a friend who collects sneakers. And I used to have that mentality, right? Like, yo, you spend a lot of money on sneakers. But it's no different than me spending money on like a sideshow collectible, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's his thing, sneakers. And they are pristine. I mean, he has a wall with these weird shelves that slide out the sneaker and you show them off and then you pop them back in and they're like I think they're seals.
Oh.
I'm just like,
wow.
That's impressive.
That shit is dusty. I could feel it. Like I'm not that. I was very impressed with it. It was like a whole like. I don't know if it's made out of glass or plastic, but I was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "That's my sneaker." And he's got like Jordans from like 1986 or something.
Oh wow.
They're worth a lot. Those Jordans, I think, are worth like $4 or $5 grand. He never wears them. I was just like, and I'm, again, an older me now is like, I get it. You're a collector, and that's worth money to you. Also, it brings you happiness because you found this unique fucking item. Like, I think there's only so many of those in existence. Versus a younger me would have been like, oh, if I want a pair of Jordans, I'd wear a pair of Jordans.
Right. Yeah.
But also, he's got a good retirement. It's all insured too, I think, because
oh wow,
they're super rare. He's got a lot of cool shoes, a lot of old Converse All Stars, a lot of, and I get it, And I said bottle caps earlier. I have a friend who collects bottles, literally bottles. And at first I was like, that's fucking weird. He would walk the train tracks and just look for old bottles. And one time he found like a Wizard of Oz bottle from the movie. Oh, wow. And I was just like, how long has that been laying on the fucking railroad track? That movie came out before I was even born, I think. It was in good condition too. Like somehow nobody smashed it. A train didn't run over it.
That's astounding.
Yeah. That's cool. It's just stuff like that is just cool.
Yeah. Like that's kind of neat, and not my jam. But he was like showing us his bottle, and I was like, dude, does that say Wizard of Oz? Like he's got one of the biggest Star Wars collections I know too. Have you guys, Chris Burdett, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen a picture of his office?
No.
You should go on his Facebook and look at photos of his office. It's wall-to-wall Star Wars toys.
Wow.
Which I would never put in my office. I'd be afraid somebody would break in and steal my shit. But it's not in his house, so Asha must be happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do an episode of People's Walls. I think it'd be cool.
I think so. I would call it the happy wall because it's kind
Yeah.
of like it's just a space, that corner of the room that just like
Yeah.
your safe like altar. I don't know if altar's the right word
We
actually, but like just a happy
Yeah,
wall.
I
You
ain't
know?
praying to this stuff, so don't get that in your head, Mark.
we've got several of those kind of walls right here. Like I'm facing it right now. Like I have an Elliot Lang print, Paul Bonner print. There's a Jacob
Paul
Walk.
Bonner? That's cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a print, but yeah, it was when he was at a Spectrum. Like the rare time he.
That's where you and I met.
Yeah.
Same one.
Yeah, that's exactly the same one. And then I've got like Jacob Walker's Call of Cthulhu poster over
I
here.
have that.
Yeah.
It's big for me to hang in this room.
And then we've got we have some Mondo posters in the living room, along with the Bud Cook original is in our guest room, and then I have like some Don Carlos sketches as well, like on a bookshelf. Like I saw those, I was like, man, I have to get those. Those are so good.
I want Dawn's work so bad. She's so good. Like Dawn is really good about.
Disgustingly good. It is absurd.
I messaged them on the side about helping me with some artwork back in the day, and got a call with me and walked me through a bunch of stuff.
And then the one thing, right as soon as you walk into our house, the very first thing we have is a large curio cabinet that is just full of like dead things. Like we have mantis shrimp in there, which if you ever seen one of those, they look like a mini kaiju thing. They're like brightly colored. They've got like crazy pinchers on them. We have like a camel skull in there. We've got some geodes. Trying to think what else. A raven skull, giant Goliath beetle thing. It's been just a thing I've been like slowly accumulating within that.
I can't bring. I have a rook skull, and I have that dead bat right there.
Where's your dead bat?
This is a taxidermy bat. I picked him up at a show a couple years. Oh no!
Oh, it's that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa. Wow.
His name's Bruce.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
So, like, there was a guy who was basically selling a bunch of these like taxidermy animals at a show a couple years back when I was doing, I think it was Walker Stalker Chicago, and I remember my wife and I at that time we were dating, and I messaged her and I was like, "Can you think you can bring this home? Like, can I buy this?" And she was like, "Go with your heart," which really meant don't fucking bring that thing, you know. Like, but my heart said buy it, so I bought it, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
And my kid likes it.
I can't.
Really the dice after that.
I can't bring myself to like get like a taxidermied mammal or anything like that. Like there's a curio store around here, like probably about 20 minutes away. They sell like, like fetuses and formaldehyde and whatever of like cows and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can collect skeletons of them. That's fine for me, but not actual fetuses or anything like that. I do like the one thing I really like to collect. In terms of like animals and things like that are insects, just because there's so many of them. They're all so different, and they're creature design fodder. Like you can kind of look at those for like 5-10 minutes, and you immediately get like ideas for things.
I mean, I hate bugs, and one of my friends bought me this because he's like, I think it looks cool. I think it's like, bugs give me the heebie-jeebies, man.
That's my wife. Like we saw one of a lunar moth. If you ever seen one of those, they're big. They're like,
huge.
Yeah, they're like, they're big. They're like 8 or 9 inches across and long, like lobes of like bright green on their wings and stuff. Like my wife saw that, and she's like, "That's beautiful. I kind of don't want it in our house, though." Right.
I was gonna put that somewhere and just get out of it. My kid is named that beetle Puff the Beetle. Oh. So she'll come in here and she'll like, "Hi, Puff the Beetle" all the time. So now it's like, I guess I have to leave it there.
Yeah.
You guys both have kids, right? So you know what it's like.
I do not have kids. You
don't? I'm sorry.
I have 3 cats, yeah.
Oh, man.
I am so allergic. My kid wants a cat and a dog, but I'm so allergic to my wife and I. My allergies, I think, are subsiding as I get older. My wife's are like still kind of bad. Like, and I'm like, do we want to roll the dice and get a cat, and then find out that we can't keep the cat? I'd feel bad, you know.
Yeah. It is possible to get used to the one cat that lives with you and you'd still be allergic to like other cats, but it's still a risk. It's still a
Yeah.
gamble, you know.
Like
Yeah.
it's like a dice roll for me. Like I hung out with my one cousin, she has a cat, and my allergies acted up yesterday. I hung out with a friend who has a cat, nothing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Marian, you said your studio's outside of your house. Was that right?
Yeah, so before my fiance and I moved in together, I was here with my parents, and we
Okay.
built a attachment in our backyard that connected on the outside. The structure was originally like a green room. For some reason, I think it was a green
Oh,
room,
nice.
yeah, with lots of like great windows and everything, and I just adapted that into my studio. So I do feel like people making or building their own studios is like a rite of passage for
Yeah.
artists
So
at some point.
you
Yeah,
never
so that
had
was it for me.
you never had the dreaded thing of like your cats going to the studio or anything like that,
I
or
did. That's
okay.
exactly what I had to heard
That's why I was asking you
Yeah,
because my
yeah.
cats I have three cats as well, and they are permanently banned from the studio after I caught one of them. She had chewed a $60 sable brush down to the nib.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was one that it was like I think I used it like
Ouch.
twice or whatever, and like I more or less saved it for like really fine line work kind of thing, and yeah, she had just
Yeah. Oh, that
gnawed it
hurts.
down entirely. I was like, oh my goodness. After that,
Oh
they've
my
been
God.
banned. They don't get it. They're not allowed in here at all.
Yeah. So before I built that art studio, I was actually in this space right here where my paintings would be.
Hmm.
And there's no door. It's like an open archway right here. So the dog and cat is gonna come in whenever.
yeah.
And my cat at the time, she was still a bit of a kitten. Um, she jumped up onto my oil palette
Oh
and
no.
I panicked because I thought she ingested oil paint. And I was like, ah! I had that whole like panic of
To
everything,
like
and
clean that off, right?
I grabbed her, and I think we both like got traumatized. I'm getting feedback from you,
Oh,
Andrew, so it's a little confusing. Yeah, I'm hearing an echo here.
yeah, one second. Hold on. This might be
Yeah,
what's going on with me.
It switched back. It's funny.
yeah,
Testing. That's better. Nope. There it is.
yeah. It's still there. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little
It's
bit. Yeah.
get us through the last 5 minutes, Andrew. Come on.
Um, I think
Wait.
it's okay for now, so I'll just finish the
I think it's
story. But
okay
yeah,
for
like
now.
Yeah.
she jumped onto the palette and started licking, like the titanium white. Like, thank God it
Oh
wasn't lead white
no.
or something. But I
Right.
heard that sound, and like as a pet owner, you just like are wired to hear like certain like sounds they make, and you know if it's wrong or not. So I quickly turned over, grabbed her. We both got traumatized because I grabbed her so suddenly, and I rushed to
Scared
the
her, yeah.
bathroom and tried to like yeah clean her face and clean like try to like get it out. And I was like, oh my God, if this I just couldn't. Luckily, nothing was major.
That's what freaks me out
If
about
anything, yeah,
paints here. But Violet's really good at not touching stuff. But she's a kid, so at some
yeah,
point she might be like, "Let me see what this is."
yeah, yeah,
Um, as a parent, it's always the sound I listen for is no sound. Like
yeah,
if you hear them playing, and all of a sudden you hear dead silence, you're like, they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. You
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, for
you like
sure.
beeline into
Um,
that room.
yeah, so like the having it outside of the main house was definitely the goal was to not have animals being able to get in. It also really helps with keeping fur out of your paintings too, which helps.
Give me one. Keep going. I'll be right back. Okay. Give me one
I
second.
I absolutely get that. Actually my studio is my first house, it was similar to how you were in that house where they had
Mhm.
open access to the studio. There was no door or anything, and that is actually
Yeah,
where the sable brush incident happened after that. So when we moved into
yeah,
this house, I basically told my wife, I was like, they're not allowed in here at all. I can't have that again. Or at least if they're in here, we need to be in here as well, and I need to be able to like immediately, as soon as one of them tries to do something, stop it.
get
Um,
them. Yeah,
and it's
So
crazy because like for the most part, they just usually just sit in like one of my chairs, like whichever chair I'm not sitting in, they'll just sit in that one and just nap. It's just one of
mm.
them decided to get a little crazy and
yeah,
try.
it's man. What do you want? That's what I mean.
Yeah, I know. They will totally be fine, and then all of a sudden they'll decide to throw a curveball on you. But yeah, no, this is this area that's my studio is actually a porch that they built like an enclosure around and like walled it off and stuff. So actually, like this whole area, like these are all sliding windows on this side. So I actually can get a lot of light in if I want to. The only issue is, and this is kind of an issue I have with most of the houses, the roof for this one is rather short. It's like maybe 8 feet, something like that. So it's not ideal. Like there's things like the lights or whatever, like they hang down a little bit lower than I would like to. I'd rather it be like a 9-foot ceiling or something like that, but you kind of have to roll with it.
Yeah, I only have problems when I turn the fan on. My ceiling's really low too, but it's better than the walk-in closet.
Yeah, that's true.
Short person, so that doesn't. Yeah.
Andrew knows I worked out of a walk-in closet for almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That was my little space, So this is
we're
a little bit over
time.
Story.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wrap it up, but I want to point people to I'm gonna drop your website, which is marianphamart.com.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about that I may have missed?
We talked about a good amount of stuff today. I am open for private commissions. If anyone's looking for some digital art or traditional art, I do both. I'm working on a few right now. I have a dog portrait that I'm finishing up, and I'm working on 2 watercolor commissions that I will need to start pretty soon. And yeah, if you guys like watching art tutorials, you can also find me on Etchr Studio on their YouTube channel. Sometimes you'll see me there hosting, or their mini workshops that are paid, and you go to etchrstudio.com to see what we have in store for you. And then yeah, if you're on EDO or looking at stuff on EDO, just know that I am the person that's running it behind. And if you have any questions about your art or submissions, you can DM me. Probably what might be the best way to get a hold of me. Marian Pham Art on all things social media. You can find me there.
Cool. Well, I'm glad we finally got you on. I know we've it sucks that we had issues. We had to keep postponing, and then when we finally get you on, technical difficulty.
Yeah, we had a hell of a technical difficulty, and now we have one at the end here.
Right?
It's just dumb. But if we do, like an episode on studios, it'd be cool to get you in and check out your, I think it's kind of cool that you have a studio that's not attached to the house. That's a good write-off too, I believe, right? In taxes.
Yeah. I don't own the house here, so I would have to calculate it by space.
Right.
But I still, when I was building it a few years ago, it was able to write off a bunch of stuff. So
cool.
Yeah. Definitely would love to give you guys a studio tour. And I'd love to be on the show again in the future.
We'll check out the video stuff next time before we get
we'll get it sorted.
Oh my lord, I gotta get that sorted out before next week. So I got I gotta bounce because I got a friend who's gonna help me. He's actually gonna look at this computer. He's probably gonna tell me to put a brick through it.
Sure.
But if you think of anything else you want me to plug, just send me a link to it and I'll post it all on the YouTube. Anyone watching, thanks for watching. I will post this video on YouTube too after Twitch decides to finish streaming. All right, thanks. I don't know who our next guest is. I didn't write it down, so sorry guys. I'll make an announcement. That's the kind of day I'm having. I'll make an announcement.
It is wild and crazy.
So all right, you gotta hit end on your end on Streamlabs, and it should stop.
Okay.
All right. Thanks everyone. We'll see you.
Bye guys.
All right. See you guys.